All right, so in the final part of your Module 3, we're going to go on Excel 70 and we're going to set up a loan amortization schedule. This is a very useful tool for personal finance or small businesses, so you can track the amount you have on a loan and how much your payment is going to be, what your balance is going to be month by month, and things like that. So click and make a new blank workbook, and then we're going to change the theme really quickly to retrospect, and then we're going to save the file, and that's going to be called PR 3-loan amortization schedule. And then we're going to set columns A through I to Home tab. We're going to set it to 12 for our column width. I'll zoom in a little bit here. And then we're going to enter in the information according to figure 3-18. So A1 would be loan amortization schedule. And then we're going to take A1 through I1. We're going to increase the font size here to 24. We're going to bold it. We're going to change our fill color is going to be the orange accent 1, lighter 80%. Then we're going to jump down to B3 and type in loan information, loan amount, annual interest rate, loan period in years, and then in B8 optional extra payments. And then from B3 to D8 we're going to apply an outside border, and then we're going to click in F3 and do loan summary, scheduled payment, and total interest. And then we're going to draw a box from F3 through H5. We're going to do an outside border. And then select D3 through D8, and then hold Control on your keyboard and do H3 through H5, and then apply that same orange color, then save. And then we're going to increase the alignment. So select B4 through B8, or increase the indent, I mean. And we're going to increase the indent twice. So in the alignment group, we have an indent button, increase indent button, click it twice. And then we're going to do the same thing for F4 and F5. You're going to select those two and click the increase indent twice. And cell A10, we're going to enter in the labels that match figure 319. So payment, PMT, NO, payment due, beginning, balance, scheduled payment, extra payment, total payment, interest, principal, and ending balance. Don't worry about it formatted correctly. We're going to do that here in a minute. No, we're going to select A10 through I-22. So I'm going to go in my name box, A10, colon, I-22. And then we're going to format as table, and we're going to select the light orange table style too. Click on that. We want to make sure that the My Table has headers checkbox is checked, and then press OK. And then what we want to do is we want to resize columns A through I again, because it kind of messed it up. So select A through I, and then we're going to go to Format, Column Width 12. OK. And then we're going to select just this first row in our table, A10 through I10. We're going to wrap text so that our text is wrapped so we can see all of the table headings. And we also want to get rid of these filter buttons right here. So go to the Table Design tab, and we're going to uncheck the filter button. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on cell D4, and we're going to enter $10,000 for our loan amount. We want to format that as accounting. And then we're going to match the rest of the stuff with figure 3-20. So we have an interest rate of 4%. We have a loan in period of 1 year. Our optional payment is going to be $100. And again, we're going to apply the accounting format to that. And then we're going to figure out the scheduled payment and total interest later on. So go ahead and save that, and we're going to move on to the next page. And we're going to go to cell H4, and we're going to insert a payment function. So click the Insert Function button, and we're going to look up PMT. That's our payment function. Click Go. Double click on PMT. And this function calculates what our payment would be for a specific loan amount with a specific rate. And this, I'm going to explain a little bit about what each of these values does. So with rate, that's how much rate we're paying basically every payment. And for most payments, you're paying things monthly. And the rate that you're quoted in a loan, however, is your annual percentage rate, and annual percentage rate is yearly. So we actually have to convert the annual rate to a monthly rate. It's actually super easy to do. It makes total sense too. Because we have 12 months in a year, all we have to do is take our yearly rate and divide it by 12 to get our monthly rate. And so our yearly rate is located in D5, so click on D5. For whatever reason, the instructions want us to make that absolute value, so hit your F4 key, and then hit your division key on your keyboard, which is your forward slash, which is the slash on the number pad if you're wondering. And the forward slash means that the top of the slash is more toward the right and the bottom is more toward the left. And then we hit 12. So it's telling us we're going to take our annual percentage rate, divide it by the total months in a year to get our monthly percentage rate. And that's what we want because that's the rate that's charged per payment. Our NPER is number of payments we have overall for the total of our loan. And for this particular loan, we have 1 year, which is in D6. Again, they want us to make it absolute, so hit your F4 key. And the payments we have are monthly. And so if we have 1 year, to get the number of payments we have, we take our years and multiply it by 12, which is 12 months in a year, to get the number of payments that we have total. And then PV is our present value. This is how much we owe. It can either be negative or positive. If we owe money, it's going to be negative. So we're going to start off with the subtraction sign that makes whatever we're going to put in afterward a negative number. And our PV will be our loan amount, which is in D4. So click on D4, and again, make that absolute, so hit your F4 key. So this is what it should look like. And that's also what's in figure 3-21 as well. So that's what it should look like. And that's how we come up with the math for this formula for our scheduled payment. Press OK. And don't forget to save your file. Now we're going to move on to step number 3. So we're going to go to cell A11, and we're going to type in number 1, and then we're going to go down to A12, type in 1 again. Then we're going to select A11 and A12, and we're going to fill all the way down to A22. And an easy way to do this, because this is formatted as a table, we can double-click right there on that fill handle, and it fills the rest of the rows in the table and stops at the end of the table with whatever sequence that we wanted. So we have that right there. And then in cell B11, we're going to type in our date. So it's going to be 1-1-17. Press enter. Now we're going to 2-1-17. Enter. So our payment is due on the 1st of the month. Select B11 and B12. Double click on that fill handle. Fills in the rest of that series for us. And now we're going to go on to step number 4. So in C11, we're going to go ahead and get our beginning balance. For our beginning balance, in C11, our initial beginning balance is going to be the amount we owe. But for every other month, it's going to be the ending balance for the previous month. So we're going to have to do a little bit to this to get this to work right. So think of the beginning balance as the beginning balance for the month. And the first payment we haven't made any payments at all, so our first beginning balance is going to be our total loan amount, which is in D4. So equals D4. Then we're going to press tab. The rest of the stuff below, that's all screwed up. We're going to fix that here in a little bit because we need to make sure that our beginning balance in C12 is going to end up equaling what we have in I11. But we're going to do that here in a few steps. So we're going to ignore that for now. Our scheduled payment is going to be the amount that we have in H4. And we want this absolute value because our scheduled payment is not going to change. Our extra payment is going to be where we have extra optional payment in D8. So we're going to also want that to be absolute valued. And then that brings us to calculating our total payment, which is going to be our scheduled payment, D11, plus our extra payment, E11. And I use my mouse cursor to point to these things. And you can see when we point to these things, I'm not getting the cell references. I'm getting this weird symbol that says at scheduled payment. And that's because it's referencing from the table itself. I could always have typed in equals D11 plus E11. And it's the same thing when we're using a table. As I said, ranges and tables operate a little differently. And that's one of the things, if you start using a table, you're going to see that some of these references look a little different. I'm going to press tab to get over to the interest. And so the interest, we're calculating the amount of interest we paid that month. And so to get our interest, we're going to do equals. And we need to take the amount of our balance, the beginning balance of the month. And again, I clicked on the table, so that's why it looks like that. But I could have easily have just gone equals C11. And we need to multiply that by our interest rate for the payment, which is the interest rate for the month. So equals parenthesis, our annual interest rate, F4 to make it absolute, divided by 12 to get our monthly interest rate, because we're paying every month. So that's the interest accrued. Tab, and that's our interest. And then we go on to H11. And here we are going to enter in the principal of our loan. So our principal is our total payment subtracted from the interest, and that's how much we're paying off on the loan. So equals F11 minus G11. So we've paid $951.50. But we have to subtract the interest of $33.33 because we're only going to pay off that amount on our initial balance, because the $33.33 is just the fee we're charged for borrowing money. So press tab, and the amount we're paying off on the loan that month is $918.17, and the amount we're paying to the company who gave us the loan is $33.33 for the interest. And that brings our ending balance to what our beginning balance is, which is in C11, and we're going to subtract that we're going to subtract our principal from that amount. So we're going to decrease that by H11. So C11 minus H11, and that is going to get us what we currently owe after we make our payment on our first month, which is $9,081.83. And that's going to be the beginning balance for the next month. So we're going to do an equals, and we need to do I11, which is our ending balance. Press enter, and that should give us what we want for our balance. Now we get this error, so what we want to do is on their autocorrect options, click the undo calculated column under that option. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that again just to show you. So we have this error where we have this value. Oh, I screwed up. I'm going to undo that a couple more times. So if we do equals I11, press enter, Excel's trying to do something with the table that we don't want it to do. So we want to click where it has autocorrect options. We want to click that drop down and click undo calculated column. And if you missed doing that, you saw how I went to the undo option up here until I had to put the I11 formula back in there. So undo that, and then it shows us that our value in C12 is now matching what we have in I11. And now we can just click on C12, go to the autofill handle, and click and drag down. There we go. And that should give us what we want for, or what we're going to pay and how much we're going to owe in that payment. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to format columns E and G as accounting. Okay, so it's not accounting already. We're just following the instructions. And so we can now change these values up here with the loan information and see how that changes the amortization schedule and the payments and things like that. Maybe our loan is not $10,000, but it's $5,000. So let's type in 5,000 in D4 and press enter. And you can see that the entire amortization schedule changed, our payment and everything got modified. And it's nice to have this calculator so you can kind of figure out what you're going to owe for a loan on your own and not have to just depend on what somebody tells you. And then we could change our interest rate from 4% to 2%. And again, it changes again to show us how much we owe. Then we're going to delete the optional payment, so click on D8 and just hit the delete key on your keyboard and press enter. And you can see how that modifies what we are paying as well. Now that we've done that, we're going to go to H5, and this is going to show us the amount of interest that we're paying in total on the loan. So we're going to equals, then we're going to do sum, and we're going to select all of these interest values from G11 to G22 and press enter. And we can see that on this $5,000 loan at an APR of 2%, paying monthly, we will have an interest, we will end up paying $54.33 extra on the loan than we would have if we just would have had the cash in the first place. And a 2% interest rate is fairly low, so that's why you see that we'll pay that little bit left over. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Print, and we're going to select Landscape Orientation. And we're going to go to Page Setup. I'm going to go to Margins. We're going to center this horizontally on the page. And then we're going to create a custom header. So header and footer, custom header. And in the custom header, we're going to put our name in the left section. And then we're going to insert the sheet name in the right corner. And then press OK, go back, save, and then we are done with the amortization schedule.